Hello, Holy Ones, and welcome to the third petal unfolding into our sacred sexuality of the Tantric Woman. I would encourage you to listen to this recording either naked in the bath or on the ground with your legs spread open or in a robe, or in a posture that feels really expansive and free. Yeah. So first things first, we're entering now into a deeper place inside our sanctuary, inside the temple, to connect with the mysterious force of nature that is the feminine. Tender, holy, fierce, to the place where the woman has lost her holy communication with the source of her intuition and her power and her pleasure. We are going all the way down to the pussy. Whew. Now, Tantra is about the vastness of the unknown. It's the unseen, the mystical, the immense. It's an essence, and it's a way to awaken your spirituality and your relationship with your higher self through a process of dissolution, of death and rebirth, like you're a spiritual doula between the worlds. Yeah. And the tantric journey is not a mental journey. It's not a philosophical journey that your mind will understand. It's an incarnation journey. And it's about practicing your divinity and refining your channel and tuning your instrument. Understanding your divinity is through your body. It's about opening into that vastness and freeing your physical body from all of the illusions so you can re-encounter the other dimensions within you for life that illness, disease, detachment, bitterness, fear otherwise would have distanced you from. And it's the way of unification, of interconnectedness, a spiritual undefined force of nature. So consider the line continuum that we live in, of the polarity of life, that we often see light and dark, good and bad, hate and love, cold and hot, right? That is viewing them through the perspective of duality. But when you see that we are all of it, the invisible world of the tantric world, there is no separation between the light and the dark. Think of the substance of water and ice. It's the same in different forms, yeah? Or the hot and cold and the temperature. There are different temperatures that we're perceiving, but they're all temperature. And like at night, throughout the night that is dark, before the sun rises, there's a gradual sun rising into the dawn. And when we bring the inner light of awareness, compassion, approval, acceptance, whatever we see out there that's graced with love and compassion, we alchemize on behalf of the collective. So doing this inner tantric work is also observing that the darkest thing that you judge out there, the oppressor, the tyrant, the villain, the racist, the whore, whatever it is, whatever is charged, whatever it holds, that means there is unintegrated polarity within you around it. And this is vibrational. Yeah? It's a concept of living and dying all the time, that every breath, life changes and renovates and balances. There's love and death and love and life. And always in the shadows, the love feels dense and uncomfortable and unknown. But there is love there. And so the journey is into the fear and the joy and the ecstasy and the agony and all of it. All of it, all of it, all of it. Into the millions of expressions of it. And reclaiming that you are all of it. And there is no separation. And so everything that we seek really is within us. And so becoming this force that within you expand into a vastness that can hold that energy of all of it, that is what creates the magnetism to draw what you want into your life. Yeah. So know that you are whole and you are full of life, and there is more of you to inhabit. There is more of you down, up, inside, outside, time, space, and wanting to experience it all of that joy and the pleasure means that that same line of that height will also experience loss and agony and change and death. And that acceptance there, saying yes with that unknown, this is love. And in the tantric way, the perspective is that you can't love. Love is not an action. You can be the channel of it and incarnate it. So it's not that you have pleasure or give pleasure. You create a space for that experience to incarnate through you into being. You are a universe. And when love touches your biochemistry, your body, your mind, your essence of spirit, and then your age, and your experiences, and your unique personality and perspective, that is how it expresses in every moment. And that is how joy and pleasure express through that lens. And in one moment you might be sitting in meditation, the other moment dancing, and one is not better than the other, yeah? Whatever is pulsating through you, whether it's savage or sensual, elegant or poised, you incarnate. This is what this next petal unfolding is about. Is about really becoming the one, the full pranic package, about inspiring yourself into wholeness and making sense of those archetypes within you and then practicing it in your life. Yeah. So when you close in the heart or become bitter when something happens to you and you lock away that pain or that memory, whether consciously or unconsciously, that becomes a primordial part of you that gets shackled, that beast that we spoke about, the parts that you don't want to look at. And when you begin to clear your channel, refine your channel, and permit yourself to be a channel, you start to open these doors, yeah? And the animal within comes through. And we want to be conscious about how closed our doors are. And we're not trying to kick down these doors or bash and force anything down or through. But it's not for the mind to understand of why these doors close and how to open them and what the names of the chakras are. And this isn't about learning anything new, okay? This is about getting into the body. If you can feel it, it exists. And the chakras are like the energetic circulatory system in Tantra, your spinal column. And we are expansion of energy. Our prana, life force energy, flows upward, and our apana flows downward. And there's a marriage of these two energies at the heart. For women, it is both more painful to experience constriction, physically and psychologically, against the current and flow of expansion than it is to activate the Shakti, the feminine love force flow, sitting dormant at the base of the spine, and experience that totality, that infinity, that wisdom. So if you consider every time your energy had an impulse to go somewhere, and say you wanted it to expand, say yes to something, and you received an external no, a constriction, a condition, your mind then learned that the no then directed your flow of energy. And that pulsating wild chi then would constrict. Whether or not this no was real or proportionate to your experience, you learn how to follow orders of others and not your own will, not necessarily in alignment with your own authentic congruence. And so the energy centers have the memory or energy of unexpressed and contained compression and accumulation of that energy, which of course gets very dense in our first three centers into depression and disease and explosion. And our conventional psychology doesn't understand it because it doesn't comprehend why anything on a psychological level could have the depression and the energy can affect the body. But a repression in the system, that's explained through many wisdom traditions: Chinese element theory, organ systems, meridians, where the emotions go, the highway, the blueprint. This information is out in the open, but these practices we're going to get into are important because it is reclaiming the energy that's dormant in the lower energy centers, between the anus and the perineum and the utero, the whole solar plexus, through the heart, the throat, the third eye, the crown, and the nerves and muscles in the bodies that have been on alert and cannot feel pleasure or be in communication with what is beyond, plants, sights, smells. You cannot feel pressure when you feel your life is in danger. There's only survival that the nervous system can attend to. So when we collectively have cut ourselves off from being a tantric woman to feel, yes, we've cut ourselves from the pain and the memory that's beyond the surface, but also from the pleasure. Yeah. And the tantric woman has the ability to understand energy deeply and then respond from that same deep place. And the animal that is your power, the instinctual nature within you that knows how to rest just as well as it knows how to be wild, that has died within your own body can then begin to awaken, and you can rediscover force and flow. And everyone can do this. Every human body can do this. And as we start to breathe, your mind will be scared. When we hold the breath, the mind will feel the limits. And the change will feel like a suffering. And then you know that you're starting that process. There will be a death when you bump up against that upper limit of what you believe is possible for you. And so when we are aware of this contraction and expansion, then we can begin to consciously control and direct our energy to these places, right? We can revive the heart. We can revive the heart. And at the heart, that is the temple marriage site, the altar of the sacred matrimony of the consciousness and the energy that we have within us. That is where the heart bridge moves the energy from the lower centers to the higher centers, and where Shakti and Shiva, our masculine and feminine counterparts, make love within us. And we have the capacity here to move beyond our body, through our body, beyond into higher states of pleasure, of orgasm, of sexual awakening. And that's why the heart bridge and the heart door has to be open. Because that force is the center of Tantra. That is what awakens and moves this energy. And it's here at the heart center that we can integrate and alchemize and transform all of the emotions that we are moving from the lower centers. We need an awakened heart for this. So when the mind relaxes and the heart can then expand and hold all of the bitterness and the memory, and we can turn toward that with love and compassion, we can unite that energy within us and practice the congruency and start to generate the feelings that we desire to experience from the outside world. The feelings we desire to be held, provided for, loved, respected enough. We can begin to make changes from within by strengthening the relationship within at the site of the heart. Yeah? So that's what this next petal unfolding is all about.